Hello and welcome to the Overwhelm is Optional podcast. I'm Heidi, Marke, coach and biggest cheerleader for successful but secretly overwhelmed women. As well as weekly episodes here on the podcast, you can find out more about what I offer by going to heidimarke.co.uk. Hello and welcome to this week's episode. How are you? I'm sat in my new office. It's not new as in a new place. It's new as in I painted it and it feels new. It just feels so good. I'm really excited. So welcome to my new office. I painted it cloud pink, and then you'll laugh because I ran out of paint. The walls just soaked up so much paint because they're very old walls, very, very old walls actually. And then I had this small rectangle, probably like a metre squared, which is behind my desk and pinboard. So I was like, oh, that'll do for now. And then I went away for the weekend and visited my aunt, and she had done up her downstairs toilet in what I thought was the same colour. So she had spare paint in the garage, so I bought that back. It's not the same colour. Of course it's not, because there's like a gazillion paint colours, aren't there? But I used it anyway. And you can't tell when you paint because one was dry and one was wet, and the wet one's always darker and it's dried, and the second colour is slightly different, but I don't care because I'm so happy to be back in my office because I love it so much. I love having this space for myself. And I've also got a plant for it, which is a Groot. Do you know Groot from, I can't remember, something, Guardians of the Galaxy? That's it, Guardians of the Galaxy. Those films are hilarious. And there's, I've got a baby Groot, the plant that dances, so funny. And I sent a picture to a friend who said, oh, it's a Groot, does it dance when you're not looking? I'm like, yeah, definitely dances when I'm not looking. So welcome to my office with its beautiful colour, which I'm considering is the colour of love. So beautiful. And Groot, who is now part of my podcast setup. So welcome. That's what I've been up to. One of the big things I've been up to, as well as obviously releasing my book and listening to feedback from it. I then ordered it on, this is funny, I borrowed it from Kindle Unlimited to read it, just to see what it looked like, because although I've done the formatting, it's nice to just look at it, isn't it? And now I'm like, my brain's going typo. Whereas what's actually interesting is the people who have read it have said things like, I found one typo, and everybody finds a different one. And this is a really important lesson for all of us, isn't it? Because we get stuck in our heads. We think we can't do anything because it's got to be perfect, and I'm not ready, and there's something wrong with me. It's not quite good enough. And one of I actually wrote a blog about how I wrote my book, because several people were asking me, how did you do it? So I wrote everything down, including the free resources that I use that I'm really grateful for. You can get that just by going to my website, heidimarke.co.uk. And the very last free resource, or the second free resource I used, was Matt, I'm probably saying his name wrong, please forgive me, Radinsky, I think his name is. And he gives you, I've actually just seen, he's advertising his free webinar again. It's really good to get his free ebook that he gives you when you attend the free webinar. And one of the things he says near the end is, at some point you just have to release the book and do it imperfectly. And I found that immensely freeing and helpful. And I'm sure I've been told that by different people, but it really hit home at a time when I was bursting to release this book. So if you've got the book, I hope that you are finding treasure in its very rich sentences. And please forgive me for any typos. I know they're there. My mind is telling me, you need to go and sort that out immediately. But actually, it's not that many. It's just, I'm noticing my mind doing this, and then I'm noticing it neutrally and going, everything's okay. The book's out there. The reviews are really good. I'm so grateful for everybody who's just, I don't know, I know some of the people, but I don't know all of the people who've written reviews on Amazon. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. I'm so grateful that you took the time to do that, because I know what happens to me. I must leave a review because I really love what that person's doing and I want to support them. And then that gets added to my to-do list, and then it falls off my to-do list. And because of the way I run my to-do list, I'm okay with that. and that's what I'm going to be, one of the things I'm going to be looking at in this episode, but or maybe the next episode, because there's a lot to say about the topic we're about to dive into. But so really thank you for taking the time, and also for those who've taken the time to leave a rating review for the podcast, because it's really annoying, isn't it? We're asked all the time to review things and blah blah blah, but it takes time and energy, and the thing is, though, it helps everybody. I see it like this, like the world, there's good stuff in the world, and those of us who appreciate the good stuff and highlight the good stuff to others help good stuff to rise to the surface. And I think we really need to be doing that, even if we're not, I don't mean spending hours writing reviews, I mean with the intention that we want to see more good stuff in the world, because there's so much negativity that's deliberately distracting us at the moment, and it's rubbish. It's overwhelming, it's rubbish, it's all doom and gloom. I'm not interested. It doesn't mean there's not real suffering, and that we're abdicating, kind of blocking ourselves off from that in a unhealthy bypassing kind of way. I just mean it's really unhelpful if all we do is let all the gunk float to the surface and don't focus on the good stuff. The more we focus on the good stuff, the more that rises up and that inspires, and then we can come together and do things about the rest of it, because the world is not doomed. Everything isn't terrible, it's just misrepresented, and because your mind is easily hijacked to keep you safe from bears, what happens? Doom, doom, doom. So anyway, thank you for those who have supported my work in any way at all. Really appreciate it. So this week I want to carry on from last week. So I'm kind of doing a themed month, but I'm not very good with, I don't like too much structure, as you know, if you've been hanging around here for a while. I just don't like it because I want to rebel against it. But on the other hand, I do like having a focal point, because I think it's easier for you guys if I go, right, so this month we're going to look at getting things done the gentle rebel way, and then we have a series of things, particularly if I've got a guest. It's quite nice to anchor that in. So last week we had Miles Seekeren, and I'm really worried that I've said his surname wrong, because I've known him long enough to just, I don't use his surname. Why would I use his surname? And I realised that I didn't even introduce using his whole name. So please forgive me, Miles, if you're listening, on your allotment. That episode was so good, and I'm so grateful to Miles for sharing it. And thank you to those who've let me know how valuable it was for you. It's really helpful to get feedback, but I'm not going to ask for it in like a needy way, because I don't think that's helpful at all. But I'm just saying thank you when you take the time to just drop me a line and say, yeah, that really resonated, thank you. It's just nice to know. But it's not essential, and don't add it to your to-do list. Also, that's what I was going to say. If you're one of the people who took me up on my pre-publication free book offer, and or you can't be both, we could be both, you've bought a copy of the book, please don't add the book to your must-do list and then feel bad. I suggest that you let go of that idea, don't add it to a list, put it by your bed and read one sentence every morning or every evening. One sentence a day. One sentence a day. Oh, which brings me on to something super exciting. One of the things that's bubbling, I've got lots of things bubbling at the moment, because having released the book and decorated my office, I'm still in the process of decluttering, but also coming through is my next adventure in terms of my work. And one of the things I'd really like to start doing is, and I think it's going to be called Gently Rebellious Reminders, like a Sunday very short email that's just a quick reminder, very much like, and it might be some of the sentences from my book, just going, don't forget, you're perfect, don't forget, feel your feet on the ground, and I don't want to use the don't forget bit, because that's bossy. I don't like bossy. I'm sure you don't either. But just like an email list, I want I really treasure the people on my email list, and I want it to be nourishing. And one of the things I know I benefit from is little reminders. Oh yeah, don't forget you're a gentle rebel. Woohoo! You don't have to do that. Feeling squashed today? Feeling squished? Yeah, anyway, that's one of the things that I've got in the pipeline. And another thing is the idea of a community, a membership, a low cost membership, because I'm really aware that for some people, my courses are out of their price range. They're not that expensive. And for what they do, I would argue they're a bargain. But I do understand that around the £100 mark is a big investment especially for some people, especially at the moment. And I'd really like to offer, and also obviously my coaching is thousands of pounds, and that's not for everybody, and that's okay. So what else can I offer you? Well, there's my book, and that's gold. And there's my podcast. I offer masses of free stuff. However, I'd also like a community, but I don't like Facebook. I really struggle with communities on Facebook. And I know that most of my clients also don't like Facebook. So I was like, and then Kajabi, who I love, they host my website, they host my courses, they have an app, they're really high quality, they're really lovely, lovely people. I use them because I know that they provide good quality and that my stuff will work for the people who pay for it. And that's really important. It's really important to me that videos run, that audios work, that downloads work, that everything works and it's easy. Really important to me that I provide high quality products and services. So Kajabi have just, you don't need to know the whole story. Anyway, they've just acquired a really heart-centered community platform, which means that I get that as part of my subscription to Kajabi coming very soon. So I've signed up for the beta. I'm learning more about it. I'm super excited. It allows me to run a community with regular workshops, accountability, gentle rebel support and reminders, and a higher level for people who want one-to-one coaching by messaging. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. It'll be off Facebook, off Zoom, because it's all inside, and that's just, it looks so good. I'm so excited. So look out for that. That's going to be coming up. Also, usually at the end of the year, I do like a turn of the year, gentle rebel way to start the year thing, and that's definitely coming up. So stay tuned for that. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you're on my email list, because that sends stuff out faster. So obviously, the email goes straight into your inbox, whereas the podcast, you might have a delay. So do sign up for my email list. Just go to we'll just check the show notes below or go to my website, heidimarke.co.uk. Right, on with today. So the gentle rebel's way of getting things done. So this is rebellious focus. This is when we want to we're really we're really honing in this month on that frustrating, ridiculous circle we get stuck into where we're not ever quite doing the things that we intend to do. So we're constantly distracted from those things. We're constantly overwhelmed by other things, and all the thing that we want to do feels really overwhelming. So I can give examples like how to write your book without overwhelm. And I'm also I've done a blog for you to help you. And then there's other things like how to start your podcast without overwhelm. I intend to write, that's a blog on my list. How to blog without overwhelm, how to do anything. But these are quite big things, right? But being able to hold all of those things is really important, because they're dreams of mine. And if you've got that dream in you, I'd love to help you do that. But I'm not just talking about that kind of thing, because they're obviously online entrepreneurial things, and not everybody listening to this podcast is an online entrepreneur. A lot of people or in all sorts of professions. We have all sorts of people listening to this. And can I also say that I'm really aware, I had a really good catch up with a friend of mine who listens to my podcast all the time, and he's not a woman, he's a man. And I'm really aware that men listen to my podcast, and that men are on my mail list, and that men are following my stuff and find it helpful. So welcome to all the men who are listening. When I thought I was really focused on just women, and I'm not going to go into it because it's irrelevant, but it's an up and down thing, honing in on who you help most, who you're here to serve, who your products and services are for. But I'm about to change back to it just being everyone again. Everyone who resonates, not everyone. God, I want to help everyone. No, that's too overwhelming. It's only me. Anyway, anyone who resonates with the message of this podcast, welcome, welcome, welcome. Woohoo! That feels really good. Oh, I feel lighter now. Cleared that up. Right. Anyway, back to focus. We can use that example, that spontaneous example. When we listen to our hearts and we are more true to ourselves, it is easier to focus on what we want to do. So getting things done, the episode last week that Miles is a very experienced coach and trainer in, that was invented by David Allen, that's a method of productivity that I would argue is not about productivity at all, but it's about not making your life about getting things done. It's about living your life in a way that works for you. So it's completely relevant to us as gentle rebels. It just completely makes sense. But before Miles and I decided to enter into a coaching relationship over that, I was already using bits of it, because when people see it, they think, oh, that's a productivity system. And there are so many productivity systems. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with any of them. I'm saying what I know to be true is when I got better at productivity, I just took on more stuff. It didn't relieve the overwhelm. It didn't relieve the stress. I just got more done faster. And because I was so efficient at getting things done, I took on more and more, and I expected to get more and more done. And that was one of my ruinous habits on the way to burnout. So I would argue, from a gentle rebel point of view, learning how to get things done faster isn't the first step. The first step is to commit yourself first to being a gentle rebel, to rebelling against the idea that life is about pushing through some crazy ass to-do list. Your life is not at the end of the to-do list. This constant postponing, this constant never quite doing the things we really want to do. This is a problem. This is the problem, isn't it, of one of the biggest problems with overwhelm, is we're not really living the life we intended to live. And it doesn't matter how many things we get done. It doesn't matter how hard we work. It doesn't matter how many problems we solve. We're stuck in a very similar circle of this struggle to do the things that we really want to do, those delicious, fulfilling, frivolous or deep-seated things that we really want to do. So as somebody who walks this every day, and I would argue sometimes really rubbishly, because I don't know, because I'm human and I'm me, and the Heidi way is definitely not perfect, and that I actually had to set up my business to run in this way to prevent myself burning out again. I literally built into the fabric of my business that I would find a way to coach and teach and write without burning out. So the opposite of what I'd done before. And that made it really hard because I didn't know how to do that. So that's why I've renamed my blog Musings from the Gentle Rebellion, because I'm just walking this walk all the time. This is what I'm doing. This is who I am. Now, this is how rubbish I am at it, is that I literally had to put it into the fabric of my business so that I cannot default from it for very long without having to come back. So I noticed it. So if I'm pushing to get something done, I'm like, well, that's not integral. Can't do it that way, Heidi. How are you going to do it instead? And that works really well for me. But you don't need to set up a whole business to do it, to save yourself from the common madness of just push, push, push. You don't need to do that. All you need to do is decide that you're going to rebel against what everyone else is doing, or what you've been doing and it hasn't been working for you. It's a decision, but it's not a big decision. It's a moment by moment decision. And we fail and we forget and we mess up, and then we get back on the horse and we just go, oh, there's got to be an easier way. I can't see it at the moment, but I know the overwhelm's blocking it. I'm just going to pause. I'm going to feel my feet on the ground. I'm going to allow my belly to soften. And I'm going to notice how I feel in this moment. And however I feel is however I feel, and that's okay. And that's starting from where you are. And doing that regularly, that constant neutral observation of ourselves is so powerful, because it gets us out of that react into being able to notice and respond more appropriately. So the gentle rebel's way of getting things done, which I'm going to be exploring over the next couple of episodes, so for November, starts with yourself, committing to yourself first, and noticing how you feel, to becoming aware of the things that you're not doing that are bugging you. Sometimes we don't even know what it is. It's just this edginess. It's like this frustration, and we're snapping. It's like, and then if we just pause, we can identify what it is that we long to do that we're never quite doing. Otherwise, I don't know about you, but it used to come out in this like anger. It's like, doesn't matter. It's just not this. Something's wrong. I don't know what it is. And that's not much fun for ourselves, especially not much fun for those around us when we become snappy monkeys. Anyway, so step 1, I'm not going to do all the steps in this week, because there's a lot to delve into and I'm super excited and I'm not going to rush it. But step 1 about getting things done the gentle rebel way is to pause and to commit yourself first and to notice how you feel. And then if you want to, you could do this. You could decide, right, I'm just going to splurge everything onto the paper. So if you dump everything onto paper, and this is a vital step in setting up GTD, the trademarked way of doing stuff. You just brain dump everything, get it out. Sometimes it takes ages. It depends on, I already had a partial system like it set up because that's how I'd learnt to do things. And I'd taken things from all over the place and kind of got there partly on my own and then been forced into a gentle rebellion in order to be well and sane and happy. But if you read the book, which I can't highly recommend you do. I know Miles said to get it. I have to be truthful. I haven't read it cover to cover. I've just read the bits Miles told me to read when he was coaching me through it. But getting the book would be a good start. So David Allen's Getting Things Done is the book. I'll put a link in the show notes below. But the first step is in that, as well as in mine and many people's productivity, is just to get everything out of your head, because it's not, your mind can't hold all of this stuff. It's just not designed to. And that's trying to hold everything in our minds, and we've talked about this before, is just a real huge contributor to the weight of the heavy fog and concrete of overwhelm. So I'd argue the first step is to commit yourself first to living your life your way, and that finding your way of getting things done is the gentle rebel first step. It's the commitment to that. It's the commitment to the curiosity to understand how you work as a unique individual at this point and this season in your life. So you could do the brain dump if you want. That's great because it clears your mind. You really want to clear your mind. But first do the commitment yourself. I just think that's more important. It always is. And I'm pretty sure that's probably something like that in the book, because what I love about GTD, the Getting Things Done methodology, is it is not about getting things done. It is a beautiful philosophy of freeing yourself and living your fullest life. So that's why we have Miles on, and that's why I use it and have made it mine, and that's why I'm talking about it this month. Being able to rebelliously focus on what matters most to you while getting the stuff that you have to get done, the life admin, etc. That's it, right? That's like a big part of the game. But to identify what that is, commit yourself first to living your life your way, which is the words of the Morning Promise. You can check out the Morning Promise. It's one of the previous episodes to find out more. Okay, so I'm laying the ground and sprinkling the first steps for you. It's a rebellious act to decide that you will take your focus back from everything else and start focusing on yourself. It's a rebellious act, so go gently and enjoy the playfulness, the curiosity of that rebellious act. And I'll see you next week. Thank you for listening to this week's episode. If this resonates with you, please use the like, subscribe and share buttons to help other people find their way here too. And please do go to www.heidimark.co.uk/the 1 minute mark with an E to join my mailing list and receive my free 1 minute life-changing audio practice.